I've learned while running MitiMeth is essentially the 3 Ps, and MitiMeth is standing on this tripod of this 3 Ps. It's all about people, it's all about planet, and once we get those 2 right, the profits will come. My name is Achenyo Idachaba-Obaro. I'm a social entrepreneur and the founder of MitiMeth. I was born in the US when my dad was attending grad school and moved back to Nigeria at age 4.5 to the University of Ibadan, where my father was a lecturer. Growing up on campus in the university, I think I had a deep appreciation for the simpler things in life. The campus was very beautiful, very green, so it gave one the opportunity to really appreciate nature. I studied computer science with economics and spent 5 years at the Achenyo University. So immediately after youth service, I left for the United States to attend graduate school. And I went to Illinois State University to get a degree in applied computer science. So I stayed in that computer science track. I enjoyed the technical aspect, the structured aspect of, writing programs that will provide solutions and provide answers. So I really enjoyed that. But on the other side, I also wanted to be on the business side. I wanted to be that person that also understood how business operated and how I could use technology to make better decisions. So I made another change, decided to go to business school to get an MBA to understand business. I'll get into the business aspect of doing things. And that led me to working in the energy industry for about 11 years. But despite all of that and having, this fantastic job, earning good money, I was living in the US, enjoying life, there was always that sense of nostalgia. As in, this is all well and good, but how is this going to help in the Nigerian context? What can you take out of this experience to make your contribution towards national development in Nigeria? And I thought that, okay, I'm going to come back to Nigeria and I'm going to work in the energy industry as well. But somewhere along the line, because faith plays a very integral part, in my life, I just felt this nudge that, okay, so if you don't have an opportunity to work with the energy industry in Nigeria, does that mean you're not going to go back to Nigeria? And so I started looking at possibilities of where I could fit in if I did not get an opportunity as at the time I wanted it. Then I'm going to have to make a tough decision. And I ended up making that tough decision that I was going to quit my job and come back to Nigeria, because I had this timeline that, if I didn't do it at this particular point in time, it was going to be extremely difficult to make the decision later on. And I didn't want to look back with any regrets whatsoever that, oh, had I known, I would have made this decision then. So I came back to Ibadan and started working with academics from the University of Ibadan, working on projects related to waste management. And it was as a result of being in that mindset of waste recovery and utilization that when I happened upon water hyacinth, my epiphany with water hyacinth actually occurred in Lagos, not in Ibadan. It occurred in Lagos on the 3rd Mainland Bridge. It happened to be around the time of high infestation. And so I just saw a lot of water hyacinth around that Achenyo Idachaba-Obaro area. And what struck me about the water hyacinth was the fishing boats. There were a number of fishing boats that had been hemmed in by the water hyacinth. And for me, I felt, okay, these boats ordinarily should be out plying the waterways, but what we are seeing here is obstruction. It looks as if they can't get out because the water hyacinth has these boats hemmed in. And so that essentially, set the balls in my head spinning. And the more I dug, the more I thought, I think we could be onto something here in terms of, providing an opportunity that would be win-win for the environment and win-win for the communities, and did not involve a huge capital outlay. So for me, I was looking for something, as I was exploring, the opportunities that the water hyacinth presented. It was more along the lines of, okay, what kind of solution can be deployed that would give the people that are affected the most negatively by it the opportunity to actually extract value by themselves without necessarily having technical skills or requiring some huge investment to make it happen. And that essentially was the genesis of MitiMeth. MitiMeth is actually coined from two words, miti from mitigating and meth from methane. So water hyacinth is a plant that's very rich in methane, and methane is a very potent greenhouse gas that has 21 times the global warming potential of carbon dioxide. Now, if you leave water hyacinth to rot, decay, under circumstances or situations whereby there's no oxygen, it begins to emit methane. So I tell folks that, what we're doing is we're taking this water hyacinth before it rots, before it decays, and we're actually converting it into products. So we're actually mitigating methane emissions into the atmosphere through our activities. So our mission really is to build economically and environmentally thriving maker communities that are involved in transforming water hyacinth and agricultural residues into lifestyle products that you use within the home, products that you use in the office, products that you can accessorize with from a fashion standpoint as well. The process of making water hyacinth products at MitiMeth is quite sustainable from start to finish. So we harvest the water hyacinth from the waterways. It's the stems that we typically work with when we're making things like furniture or household items. So those stems are detached and actually laid out to dry. And once it's dried, we take the dried stems and the women weave. They weave rope from the water hyacinth. So just think twine, but instead of thinking synthetic twine, it's natural twine. And the beauty about the water hyacinth plant is that it is so versatile. It's a tough weed, which is why it's such a menace on the waterways. And so you can do various things with it. So if we're not weaving it into rope, we're flattening it out like leather strips. If we're not doing that, we're actually shredding it as well to make pulp for paper. So there are different forms that the water hyacinth can be converted into depending on the type of product that we want to make at the end of the day. From day one, MitiMeth has been a for-profit enterprise, a for-profit social enterprise. We're purpose-driven with a commercial twist to it. So from day one, it was like this enterprise would have to sustain itself. And the way in which we ensure or work towards sustaining ourselves is ensuring that we have a product and a service that has a market. And if it doesn't have a market, we're going to create that market for it. And that's essentially what we've done with MitiMeth product. And one of the things that we're doing is, promoting the fact that this is a locally made product, but with global appeal. So we're making it locally to appeal not just to a local customer base, but a global customer base as well. Our product is handmade, it comes at a premium, but it's well made, and it's a product with a story. And we're hoping that, our buyers, our customers and clients key into that. The journey of MitiMeth has not been a journey of one. There's one person who founded it, but it's been a journey of many. And the successes have been many as well. I think MitiMeth has been successful in communicating the fact that it's not all about adversity. There is the opportunity for prosperity as well through the transformation of this. So just getting that positive message across and changing the narrative from a negative one to a positive one, I think has been, one of our successes. So there have been a number of people or institutions that have been involved in MitiMeth's success story. We go into these different communities to train. We don't go in, charging the beneficiaries. We go into these communities to train them on how to work with water hyacinth because somebody else has paid for them to participate. And without that, we wouldn't have been able to train over 700 people to date. The team of makers, both in-house, those are full-time staff that are in-house actually making products, full-time staff who are playing administrative roles within the organization. Without them, we won't be. So that's another success story. The fact that, we have people within the organization that actually depend on what we're doing to earn an income at the end of each month, I think is also part of what we would call a success. I want MitiMeth to become a household name. So when you think of handmade accessories, handmade interiors, that MitiMeth will be the first company that comes to mind. Also to be the reference point when we talk about the transformation of natural fibers and the different ways in which these natural fibers can be deployed. I want a situation whereby every riparian or riverine community is aware of the fact that they have an opportunity to convert this renewable resource that they have in abundance into an economic benefit. Because if they have that economic benefit in situ, right where they are, the likelihood of their immediate environment developing both socially and economically is also very high. And so we want to see a situation whereby there's positive economic impact being felt within our maker community.